Hello guys, Winter Chill with another video, and this one I want to talk about Genesis, and I haven't posted for a long time any Genesis content, so that's why I want to kind of talk about it. And why was that? First of all, Genesis is really cool. I really love the idea of Genesis and how we are playing Yu-Gi-Oh with the ban list where the 100-point cards are all these floodgates or boss monsters that are just insane. So 100 points for them if you want to just play one copy of those cards and have like everything else like be super bad cards. That's okay with me. I want to see all the 100-point cards to be either some kind of FTK enabler, part of an FTK, a super oppressive boss monster that's a floodgate or floodgate. Every time a new pack gets released, we're getting adjustment of points. So a lot of decks that are weak get pointed less, or they remove the points altogether, so you can try to play those decks. Alright, everything is cool, but why haven't I been posting about Genesis if Genesis is so good? Well, I just don't have any content to show you guys about Genesis because nobody's playing Genesis in my area. We used to play every weekend a Genesis local where we have from 8 to I think the biggest Genesis locals that I've attended had 16 people. And honestly, there weren't a lot of locals like that. And I live in an area where we have 5+ OTS stores. Like this weekend, I'm going to 3 TCG OTS championship tournaments. And if I wanted to, I could go to 2 more. So you see that there's Yu-Gi-Oh scene in my area. But there's no Genesis, and I can't blame the stores for not organizing Genesis tournaments. We always had Genesis tournaments on Sundays, but people stopped showing up, so we haven't been playing a lot of Genesis. Konami has improved the rewards for Genesis tournaments, but only for big Genesis tournaments. Here we don't get what they have in the UK or overseas, where I heard that for Genesis tournaments you get like prize packs and things like that. We don't get anything like that. So if you go to the Genesis page, yugiohcard.com en/Genesis, you can go and see of course the points allocated and so on and so forth, but also you can go here and find an official tournament store hosting Genesis tournaments. So this should resolve the biggest problem that I have, where to play. Well, first of all, the list is only for North America and Latin America. Where's Europe? Second of all, if you're not part, if you scroll over here, you're gonna see a pattern. Okay, there are a lot of stores listed here, right? But if you take a closer look, most of them are from the big states. So if you're in a small state, or in the case of Latin America, if you're in a small town, in a small country, you probably don't have options to play Genesis at all. And that is fine, because I know that the small countries and small towns won't even have Yu-Gi-Oh locals, as the TCG scene is not as big in those places. But still, if you really want to play Genesis, you have to be in the right spot, right location. Otherwise, you just can't play Genesis. Now, if you're going for the big events, now they have Genesys Regionals, Genesys YCSs. Well, first of all, before few months, you had to sacrifice going to the main TCG event to go to the Genesys event because they overlapped. Now you don't have to, but if you want to play in both formats, the Genesys one is on Friday, the main event is on Saturday, and then you have to pick which one you want to continue on playing if you qualified for day 2s on both. So it's really tough. Also, you have to pay for both. So you have to pay entry for the main event, you have to pay entry for the Genesys event. So you pay double entry fee. Of course, you get the packs, and then you are dropping out of 100% so that you can play on Sunday. Now, if you're there just for fun, will you spend 45 to 50 euro for the main event? And it's the same price for the Genesys event. So they're already the same because the prices for the Genesys and the TCG are the same. Of course, the Genesys event is going to have a lot less players. So what I've observed throughout the bigger Genesys events, the better professional, semi-professional, veteran players have been farming the Genesys events. It's just easier for them to top and to get pricing. But honestly, if you want to like make a living from Yu-Gi-Oh pricing, just good luck, man. I mean, you need all the luck in the world to do so. It's just they improved the pricing, but it's still it's not something that you can live from. Let's put aside that there's nowhere to play around your area, and let's say you're going to these big events and you're having fun with Genesys. Well, is Genesys fun right now? The idea of Genesys that they said today's cards, yesterday's gameplay is absolutely not true. How are you gonna get yesterday's gameplay if you're playing today's cards? Today's cards bring today's mechanics. Today's mechanics bring today's tempo and style of play. Everything is super fast paced. It's insane. So the only difference is that you're not gonna get hit by cards like Ash Blossom and Droll. The decks in Genesys are supposed to be something that is not that strong in the TCG. What ends up happening, unfortunately, every time there's a new pack releasing, because Konami doesn't want to be too harsh on how they point the new cards, usually the newest archetypes are the strongest. And it feels like every month that there is a new pack, if you want to be super competitive, you have to switch to the newest archetype that is not pointed well. Especially right now, if you look at the latest inclusions, Blitzkrieg, not really a meta contender in the TCG, even though it's a good deck, it's not a bad deck. Absolute tier 0 in Genesys. Absolute tier 0 in a format where hand traps are all pointed at least 1 point on every single useful hand trap, and most decks can't play a lot of hand traps because their engine cards require a lot of points. You get Blitzkrieg, which basically said, I have these hand traps and board breakers in my hand, and if I go second, I can just pop whatever you have and OTK you. That was ridiculous. And one wave of tournaments goes past by and they hit that deck. This is the problem with Genesis. Every time the newest cards are gonna be the best for one like iteration of time until the new pack gets released. Then the new pack is gonna be the best and the older ones are gonna be hit. And if you want to be on top of Genesis, if you want to be super meta competitor, trying to win all the Genesis events, you have to change your deck every single time you are getting a new pack and a new adjustment of points. That is not that bad because usually the decks in Genesis don't cost that much money and the staples in Genesis are not that expensive because usually the super strong cards that get released get pointed, so you don't really need to get 3 secrets of everything and so on and so forth. But yeah, one of the major concerns: new pack, new best deck. And this is not really what people wanted from this format, in my humble opinion. When I saw this, I was just brainstorming, oh, maybe I can play virtual world with like something else, or look at these new speed droid cards, or look at the like the X-Sabers combined with assault mode. No, if it's like, it's so frustrating to me that the deck building of Genesis, it's kind of hindered by like these new cards that get released, and they're always gonna be better unless there's a like the new pack introduces Pendulum and Link support, and these are absolutely dead in Genesis, therefore you don't really get an impact. Like a deck like the Sacred Beasts that is absolutely like not good in the TCG is like one of the best decks in Genesis. But why? Because they have the modern cards, modern text, but also they don't have a lot of points, and you can play non-engine with them. That makes it super good. I don't understand also why cards like Herald of Purple Light and Herald of Green Light and Orange Light are pointed so low, while these are basically like hand traps that negate and destroy. I really think that they should bump all of these up to make the game a little bit more interesting. That being said, in my experience playing Genesis online right now, the person going first, winning the die roll, is super good. Of course, in Genesis you can get more games where you don't have anything and your opponent can't really kill you right away, so you have a little bit more turns. But most of the time it's not the case. Most of the time your opponent just combos. Like I was playing against the Earth Machine deck, like they Veilered me and OTK'd me 2 games in a row. It's just like modern. It's just like modern. It's just about fitting non-engine with your engine, and your engine to be strong enough. And you're gonna say, oh, Earth Machine, that's a interesting deck. Wow, it's really cool to see Earth Machine being played. Yeah, it's cool, but why is Earth Machine good? It's because it received new support from the new packs. It has a new Xyz, new spell, new machine monsters that are super good, and they were designed to play against hand traps like Droll. They were designed to play against hand traps like Ash, and that's how they balance those cards. But Droll and Ash are unplayable because they cost too many points. So it's really hard to beat decks like that are not pointed enough and are like new cards that just do too much. Well, I think that will be it for this rant. I'm gonna show you some Genesys gameplay in the next video. I'm gonna show you what kind of fun decks I've been working on, and I have a lot to prepare for my TCG journey because I purchased my first YCS ticket, and I'm going to be attending the YCS in Paris, France. So I'll kind of make a lot of content talking about the YCS and how I'm going to prepare for it. So stay tuned with my videos. I've just got back from vacations, so it's going to be a lot more content coming out this week. Thanks for watching. This was Winter Chill. I'll see you in the next video.